Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Thursday, June 6th, 2024. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Coming to you a little bit early today because our guys have to get out on the road. Columbus, that is. Because it's camp season. Yesterday was the first day of camps, and we will have the most complete breakdown of that you can get. Plus, we'll let you know who's coming today. But first, you know what we got to do. Warmer, sunnier days are calling. Fuel up for them with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. This is a legit company. 2 minutes, you'll see. I'll make you understand it all. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer, thanks to the menu of chef-created meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat a well-balanced meal. Head to factormeals.com/bucknuts50 and use code bucknuts50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code bucknuts50 at factormeals.com/bucknuts50. Do not mess around. You'll want to get on there for sure. We welcome in the Dean, and I'd like to welcome in Mark Porter, but he is not ready to. There he is. Now he's ready to rock. All right, gentlemen. Like I told the people, we're coming at them early today because it's camp season in Columbus. You guys were there yesterday. I'm going to turn the show over to you two. And Bill, here's what we'd like to do. Let's go over who shined yesterday, who earned offers. Sometimes it's not always the same thing. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about who will be there today. I'm a little bit offended that Jakeem Stewart's family did not contact me ahead of time because I am the president of his PR campaign, but we will get to that. William, take it from the top. I would suggest we start with a certain speedster from Wayne.
Yeah, I was going to start with the offers, so that would be the first guy I was going to start with, Jameer Brown. We've talked about him almost ad nauseum here for the past month or so, probably more. Wide receiver, 2027, Huber Heights, Wayne, and he lived up to the billing. You know, there was a little bit of talk at one point, not yesterday, but that I had kind of heard around that maybe does he catch the ball quite as well as you want? Well, he caught everything yesterday that I saw. Obviously, the speed is there. He's the next great one as far as wideouts in Ohio, and he showed it yesterday. So he got offered quickly by Brian Hartline. In fact, and I talked to him right after the offer. There, we have a story on our site, a video interview with Jameer Brown. And the good news is he loves Ohio State. So let's leave it at that. The other offers, let's go to one other 2027 offer. Larry Moon, cornerback from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. And, you know, I was kind of walking around one other area of camp, watching that area first during the competition. It was actually the offensive line and defensive line. And then I heard a lot of talk about, the kid over there, and somebody pointed to Larry Moon, has been really good. And I watched him for a little bit, and he was really good. And he got an offer from Ohio State. Again, he is an Aliquippa defensive back, class of 2027. Then you move to 2026, and no surprise, Victor Singleton, cornerback from the Toledo area, got an offer. He also was outstanding. And he, too, likes Ohio State a lot, so that's the good news there, too, as well. Braylon Womack, safety. He really looked good yesterday. In fact, while I was watching him, he had an interception, which is not always easy to do in the one-on-ones. But Matt Guerrieri, Ohio State safeties coach, was with him a lot, coaching him up and things, and got the offer. Another safety, Jacob Weatherspoon, 2026 again. He was offered. And let's see, who am I for leaving out? Jaqueen Guilford, a 2026 wide receiver, also got an offer. So those were the 6 offers. And there was 2 preferred walk-on offers as well, but those were the 6 scholarship offers, so to speak.
Those of you who are playing at home and watching the show are going to benefit here from Mark. Mark, you want to take us through the video?
Yeah, Bill got some video yesterday, and that is Jameer Brown with the red and white shorts right there. You can see him warming up. Boy, you can just see the speed on him, and this is just kind of him, jogging through the motions here. Bill and I spent some time with the one-on-ones here. That's Jake Cook on the offensive line there. What's funny is we watched the DBs and the receivers go for a while. Then we went over to the linemen, but the footage you're seeing here, I wish we would have stayed and got more of Larry Moon and guys like that. Tackle right here is Guthrie from Miami Trace. There's been a lot of talk about him. Ryan Day Jr. throwing the ball right there. The quarterback throwing with him, Bill, that's the kid from Texas, the 2027 kid.
Weston Nielsen.
Nielsen, yep. We spent a lot of time watching Nielsen throw balls. We spent time watching him throwing the Preston Bowman and Wiley out of Olentangy. Those were 2 of the top receivers other than Jameer Brown. There's Ryan Day's son again. So we kind of got around camp here. It's just a matter if you're at the right position drill. I will point out this kid, Cogden, 6'9", 310 pounds. He was a no-namer from Tusky Valley and below Massillon in Ohio, kind of a smaller school, but that's why you go to the Ohio State camp. Names like that pop up. And I should toot our own horn a little bit. We've been talking about Victor Singleton since he was a freshman at Toledo Central Catholic when he had his showcase. We went to the showcase, and we've been talking about Jameer Brown for weeks now. A lot of these guys that got offered are guys that we've been talking about, these guys kind of propping them up, and and when they go to the Ohio State camp, their day comes and they get their offers. So I guess that's why you want to stay tuned to Bucknuts. That's our shameless plug on that.
Dan, you mentioned too that about not just the offers, about kids that shined, and I thought Jake Cook looked good. I thought he worked really hard yesterday, and he has transformed his body. He didn't get an offer, but yesterday at least he did not get an offer. But I thought Jake Cook did a really nice job. He went at it against the best there constantly, and also Dwayne Galloway from Marion Franklin, a cornerback. He is really fast. Has not come up with an offer yet. But I thought, did a really good job yesterday. And part of the thing, Ohio State's got the number 1 and number 2 cornerbacks already committed. Of course, Deetra is here. I saw her son, Devin Sanchez, and Naeem offered. So Dorian Brew still out there. And then I talked about Brandon Finney from Maryland a couple weeks ago. And I said, this is a kid to watch. And I think if I remember right, Mark had some tape on him, if I remember right. And we were kind of awed by Finney. And I said that keep in mind this kid for an official visit to Ohio State. He was working on changing his schedule around. Again, he's a 2025 cornerback. And lo and behold, Brian Doan had a story on our site yesterday that Finney rearranged his schedule around a little bit. He decided not to visit Georgia June 14th, and he's going to visit Ohio State instead. So those 2 names, Dorian Brew and Finney, keep in mind both those names for what I think maybe one more cornerback spot in the class besides the 2 great ones Ohio State already has.
And I should give Raw Talent and Mark Harris credit for Larry Moon. He had Larry Moon at the Raw Talent workouts, and because he was a Pennsylvania kid, Mark Porter wasn't exactly as interested as him as he should have been. They kept saying, oh, this Larry Moon's going to be the thing. He's going to be the real deal. And I'm like, yeah, he's really good, but he's from Pennsylvania, and I'm scouting Ohio. And as he gets the offer yesterday and Bill and I are watching him, I'm like, probably should have paid attention to those guys a little more. I mean, and for a freshman, that's pretty impressive for Ohio State to be on him that early. So, again, shameless plug. This is why you're with Bucknuts, because we're uncovering these names before they come names.
By the way, Dan, Finney is from your neck of the woods. He is from McDonough High School in Owings Mills, Maryland. And again, I think back to the tape we watched. I think Mark broke it down about a week or so ago. And he was great at defensive back and at wide receiver. Keep his name in mind. He's got official visits. He's already taken one, or he's taking one this weekend to South Carolina. He's already taken one to Penn State. That was last weekend. He has Ohio State June 14th, as I mentioned, and Oregon, not a bad place either, June 21st. So keep Brandon Finney's name in mind.
And we know that the DMV, South Carolina, and Penn State are heavily invested in there. Fahim Delane is also from the D.C. area. He's going to be looking at Oregon, I believe, Bill. So Oregon's not afraid to get in there. I want to talk about one guy a little bit more, and that's Dwayne Galloway, because you guys sent yesterday during the goings-on Dwayne Galloway's card, his dance card, as it were. 40-yard dash. First run, 4.44 seconds. Second run. And if this is accurate, 4.35. First of all, just to double back, we talked about Aliquippa for Larry Moon. Is that correct?
Yep.
Right.
Tony Dorsett is from Aliquippa and ran a 4.44 40-yard dash. And that got him to be a decent running back in the history of football. 4.35, if that is an accurate time. And I will say this. If you run a 4.44 in your first run and a 4.35 on your second run, I do have to talk to the timers because that's a decent gap. But they're both lightning fast. Do you think that the 4.35 is accurate? It says he weighed in at 5'11 and a half, 165. I'm kind of curious as to why he was not offered if that 4.35 was accurate. That is, like I said, 4x100 Olympic speed. Is he getting the slow play? What's the deal? We've heard his name a lot, Bill.
Well, I think probably the biggest thing is the aforementioned cornerbacks that I talked about. You got the two best in the country right now, and you got Dorian Brew out there, and you got Brandon Finney out there. Those are big corners that can run too. I think if you didn't have all those guys lined up already, maybe Dwayne Galloway has a scholarship right now. And as Dietrich pointed out just now, the hand times too. Keep that in mind. But he is fast. He is very fast. And I just think Ohio State's got a kind of an embarrassment of riches of who they already have at cornerback, the two best in the country, and who they might get.
So if we're going to talk about the elite of elite, and you guys are going to let this fall on my shoulders, let's talk about hand times. If you talk to track coaches, they're going to say add 0.25 to hand times. So a 4.4 is a 4.65 on a laser or more justified. So, the 4.35 might be a 4.55, still a legit 4.6, legit 4.55, blazing speed. The problem, I think, is the 165 pounds. That puts you in the featherweight category of boxing, okay, where some of these other kids that are running some of these 4.4s are 190 pounds, 200 pounds. And when you're talking about Ohio State and first-round draft picks, you're pushing that 190-pound barrier. So to carry an extra 25 or 30 pounds and run those times puts you into a bigger weight class, just like boxing. You're not boxing with the heavyweights. You're boxing with the featherweights. That's an extremely critical view of this situation because you're saying, why isn't this kid being offered? Well, let's just look at it. He can play, he can run, but he's doing it at a little bit smaller size than the other guys. So if you're the guy making decisions, it's kind of an easy thing. Oh, this one's 180, this one's 165. Okay, they're both the same in football. They're both really fast. We go with the bigger version. Does not mean Galloway will not be 185 when he's in college or 190 and still run these times and still be a great player. We are simply having an internet conversation on a podcast as to why not. So when you add the 0.25 to the 40 time and you see where his weight's at, that helps. Still elite, still, top of the echelon type player, but we're just picking from, the top 2 or 3 in the country and why this special player that lives in Columbus hasn't been offered, and we'll say yet.
There's one way to do it. He just needs to gain weight. Eat 6 times a day. It changed Devin in like 3 months. There's no doubt. Now, some guys have a hard time holding the weight. I didn't see his frame. Some guys can be wiry, strong, or some guys just didn't eat enough. I remember Curtis Samuel came here and started eating better and gained like 20 pounds in his first 3 months on campus and look tremendous. We've all seen the before and after shots when the mighty Mick gets a hold of you. Good gracious. If you weren't getting dates beforehand, you will after a year at Ohio State. You head to the beach. However, let's talk about Anthony Davis. We probably touched on him a little bit, Bill, but that's another name that has been coming up here. Anthony Davis looks good. Can we do a little review there?
He had a good day yesterday. He did not need to have a good day, though, to get an offer. He already been offered by Ohio State. He was one of the kids that went into camp having previously been offered by Ohio State. He got offered earlier this spring. He is a really athletic kid, a little thin right now, but a lot of potential, a lot of athletic ability. I see him as a linebacker edge guy. He was working out in the morning with Larry Johnson with the defensive lineman. Doesn't have the size right now to be a defensive end, but I can definitely see him as an edge. But again, he's young. He's a 2026 guy, and he's a really good one. He's out of Georgia, by the way.
And listen, you know how I feel about this. I would recruit. If you're from Georgia, you can come up, and this chance that we can steal you from Curbs is good. All right. 2 questions. Let's answer a question about any chance Kentrell Reinhardt camps for us. Look at that. Reinhardt was there yesterday.
Yep.
Thoughts?
Yeah, he's Bishop Breedy, I believe, running back. And I think he had 2,000 yards, was one of the top couple guys getting votes for Mr. Football in Ohio. He'd be the third running back in the class right now if he accepted an offer. So he's down on the list, but I think
second right now.
Okay,
Bo Jackson's the only running back committed right now.
Okay. So, yeah, that would be his role. Yeah, there we go, the air quotes. But that would be the position he's in right now. And again, just like Galloway, he could be a guy that is a hot name that we're following for the next month or so, the next in line or on the short list on the board. Looked good yesterday. Watched him catch some balls out of the backfield. Looked good there. Has some speed. I don't know what his 40 time was, but I'm sure he was one of the faster kids at the camp because he's got a film where he runs away from a lot of kids.
Well, getting a running back offered Ohio State's not an easy thing to do, though. If you look there, we say Bo Jackson, and we take it. I don't know if we take it for granted, but go look at his ranking. He's not an average.
We're getting a question about Nolan Davenport from Massillon. That he was a tight end a year ago, and he is now playing offensive tackle. Bill and I watched him, during the one-on-ones. He looked like he put on a lot of weight, and it looks like it's more in his lower body, maybe in his belly a little bit. And I think he ran, I want to say, a 5.440, I think I was told, which I would have expected a little more out of the 40. Him, because he came from tight end, I would have expected him more around the 5 flat range. But he's a guy that's probably on the shorter list, but I don't know if he stood out yesterday compared to some of the national offensive linemen. We'll see how he does during the season, if he's a guy that after a couple of games, he's really added a lot of weight. I don't know what he's north of right now, but I want to say he's around 270 or 280 coming from a tight end body a year ago. So, we'll see how that looks on film as he finishes up this summer and gets in his senior year.
Okay. Bill, I'd like you to answer this question because clearly this Will Star has fantastic taste, as you can see by his avatar. But this is a general question, and then we'll take a break and come back and talk about today. Curious how camps work. Are these types of camps an invite-only type of thing? It's kind of a blend, Bill.
Right. It's they invite the kids they really want to see. Obviously, they'd love to see all of them at camp. But there's also kids that they don't invite as potential recruits that are there as well. And that's why there's a mix of college coaches there. A lot of MAC coaches were there yesterday. And Ohio State obviously is not going to let Pitt or Oregon staffs, or I'm sorry, Oregon or Michigan staff into their camps. That's not going to happen. But they do. Pitt, for instance, they are there. I've seen Kentucky there before. So it's a mixture of coaches and kids for different levels.
A lot of good questions up there that we will get to. And like I said, we will let you know who's coming today because camp season is here. And boy, they have at least, I know, one enormous prospect coming. And I mean that in both in size and stature. But you know what it is. It's almost Father's Day. and it's almost here. Are you struggling to find the perfect gift for the man who has everything? The solution is simple. Give him the unforgettable experience of Omaha Steaks. Dave, Bill, and I have told you Omaha Steaks surprised us with a pre-Memorial Day box, and we became much more popular family members after that. So this is something you should definitely get into, and the deals are good. The Father's Day experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to put a smile on the big guy's face with hand-selected gift packages starting at just $99. And when you use promo code Bucknuts at checkout, you'll get $10 off your order. Time is running out. Don't wait till the last minute. Go to omahasteaks.com and order today with packages starting at $99. Do not forget to use the promo code Bucknuts so you get $10 off. Visit omahasteaks.com today and shop packages starting at just $99. Steaks, chicken, chops, they got it all. Order now before it's too late. All right. Let's hit a couple questions about yesterday and then go. Actually, let's just do it like this. Bill, Christopher Sowers asks, who is all camping today? I have, of course, teased Jakeem Stewart. Please take it and run with it.
Yeah, he is the big name. I've got him on my article this morning on Bucknuts, the big name from uncommitted prospects, and hard to get much bigger than him. He is the country's number one defensive lineman. He is, depending on which service and composite and all that you look at, he is anywhere from the country's number 2 overall prospect to the number 10 overall prospect for the class of 2026. Whether you put him at 2 or 10, he's great. There's been some talk that he might even reclassify. He hasn't done that yet. There has been talk, so we'll see if that happens. But 2025 or 2026, you would love him to have him on your team. So he'll be there. What'll be, I think, really interesting is I call this tight end day at Ohio State because their commitment at tight end, their number one target was Nate Roberts, and he committed to Ohio State, and he will be camping today with the Buckeyes. So happens that quarterback Tavian St. Clair will be there to throw to him. That works out pretty well. Tavian, of course, is committed to Ohio State. Tavian is going to have some other good targets to throw to today. Brock Harris, a tight end out of Utah, number 3 tight end in the country. Ohio State has offered him. He'll be there for Tavian to throw to. Another tight end, Mac Suter, out of Illinois. Ohio State has offered. He'll be there. Ryder Mix out of Texas will be there. Another tight end Ohio State has offered. So you got a pretty good group of guys that Ohio State has offered. And if Tavian chooses to throw to him, which I'm sure he will, Naheem Burrows is a wide receiver out of Jacksonville, Florida that Ohio State has offered. He's going to be working out today. And then back to the tight ends. These two haven't been offered yet by Ohio State, but they're good, and they could get offers. Corbin Fordham, he is a 2026 tight end out of Jacksonville, will be working out today. And Evan Jacobson from Iowa, 2026 tight end, will be working out today. And Lincoln Keys out of Michigan. Those are guys that are all potential offer guys for Ohio State. So I guess that tells you why I'm calling it tight end day at Ohio State.
Yeah, Rick Montoya asked, do you anticipate any more offers this week? I do.
Oh, there'll be more offers this week.
For sure.
I don't know exactly which ones yet, but there will be offers. In fact, there's going to be offers today, I feel confident in saying.
All right, Bill, there's no Cedric Works. No, he was not there. I think Cedric's getting the waiting game played. All right, let's talk about the commitment from Bo Jackson a little bit here, Bill.
But I want to go back real quick. A guy I didn't mention that's going to be is a really interesting guy, and I don't know that anybody else is talking about this guy right now, but very interesting. Christian Munguia. He is a kicker, and he is the class of 2025. He is from Richmond, Texas, Randall High School, and he is very good. He's going to be kicking for the Ohio State staff today. Again, he's a 2025 kicker, a name to know. His long field goal in a game so far is 47 yards, but he has kicked field goals from upper 50s and into 60 yards in practice. So he's a guy that I'm going to be watching today. I don't know that Ohio State is going to get an offer from him today, but he is someone that a lot of times Ohio State, other schools like to do preferred walk-on offers to kickers initially and then put them on scholarship. But he's certainly a guy. He's got some really good schools that are recruiting him, looking at him. Texas, Texas A&M, Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, Baylor. Those are some of the schools on his list right now.
I got to get you guys out of here because we're doing the show early today so you can get to the event. But there was a question here that I wanted to ask. Bill, what was the response among the guys you also expect Ohio State to be competing for a running back like Jordan Davidson at Modern Day when Bo Jackson committed?
Well, I don't think it was, anything earth-shattering. I think, I know I expected Bo Jackson to commit at some point. I had a crystal ball since January. And I think Jordan Davidson is well aware of Bo Jackson. I think Isaiah West is, for instance, and so on and so forth. So I think it wasn't any shock. And Ohio State is still, I still think they're going to get Isaiah West for the running back slot position. He absolutely has told me he doesn't care who else comes to Ohio State. He knows it's going to be a 2 or 3 running back recruiting class. And if he picks Ohio State, which again, I still have him crystal ball to Ohio State, he knows that he's going to come in ready to compete.
All right, we're going to finish with this. There have been questions about Jakeem Stewart and whether he is able to reclassify. He's currently listed as 2026, and the question is, will he reclassify to 2025? I think he should reclassify to the NFL. Look at this, okay? I'm not kidding when I say this. This is among the most impressive physical specimens you are going to see play high school football. Take it away, Mark.
Yeah, he just picked that kid up and carried him. The question is, would he be good enough to play as a freshman if he reclassified? Dan kind of said, yeah, this kid's headed the NFL. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if he's ready to play as a freshman, though. He looks like a puppy dog that is still in the midst of growing. I mean, he looks like he's flopping around out there. If he did play his freshman year, it would not be his best version of himself because he's not nearly a finished product. I mean, what do we think he is of his total self right now? 70%? 80% of his finished product? I mean, he hasn't seen a college weight room. He looks thin. He looks long. I mean, he looks like a first-day NFL guy in the future, but jumping right out of the gate, freshman year, starting day one, I don't know. Maybe, to get him, some experience and get him going, I think you try to get him in there and see if he could flash for you and give you a couple of these freakish plays. But, boy, it's weird to say that about a kid that's going to be this good that maybe 6 months from now from this tape he's not ready. Is that fair? I mean, give him a senior year, give him another year in the weight room, and but you're looking at a sophomore in high school right now, I'm pretty sure, right? And you're saying,
yes,
let's fast forward him and put him in college a year sooner. If there's a guy that can do it, okay. This is the body, but I want to see him at 100% of himself, maybe sophomore year when he just is all Big Ten and he's all American and he's that type of player. So. Yeah, to answer that question, it's a tricky answer, and that's not a negative answer on him. That's just, boy, this kid's just a puppy. I mean, would you throw a puppy in there fighting with pit bulls right away? Even if it's a great puppy pit bull, there's just a little more that he has to do before he's ready to go in there with the big dogs, I want to say.
You're going to do what Jakeem Stewart
Dan's looking at me like, I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't buy that. I think you're right in an ideal situation. But in the current climate, he has so much leverage. If he wants to reclassify, I'm not talking about starting, but I definitely think he can get in there and contribute. He looks exactly – that's a stretch. He looks a lot like Chris Jones. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You say Dan Wilkinson. Dan Wilkinson, I've stood next to him because he played for the Redskins back in the day. He was about 6'2", 6'3", maybe. Jakeem Stewart, dude, you'll see him today. Put it this way. There'll be pictures that come out of today. And he will be – you won't have to guess who he is when he walks into camp. I'll just tell you that. So we'll be there with bells on. These guys will be there. And we'll have complete and total reports. So follow Bucknuts throughout the day. If you're a premium subscriber, you can get on the site and follow this as it goes. Bill and Mark are updating stuff in real time on the front row message board, so make sure you do that. I promised these guys I'd have them out by 9 a.m. We've gone 5 seconds long. You don't go long on the Dean or you get spanked. Appreciate these guys stopping by. Have a good one, Bucknuts.